Go ahead.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking with Peter Neefus, who's going to talk about the Agile Analysis Certification. Peter is a senior business analyst with Christian Broadcast Network. He's worked in 30 plus years in the IT department in different capacities, and he has had in the past some experience with Agile analysis prior to actually attaining his certification. So he's going to just give you a great overview of the process, his personal experience. As Aaron stated, please feel free to put any questions or comments in the chat session while Peter is presenting, and then we will address those towards the end of the session. And again, this is going to be for your benefit, so you can actually enjoy this. There will be an actual discount code for our upcoming Agile analysis. That information is going to be in the chat session, and that code will be valid until next week, where at that point, early bird registration will actually kick in. So please, as feel free to take that information and enroll in this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Peter.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to share screen here and see if I get the right one. All right. Okay, so what do y'all see? See a title page?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So here we go. Agile Analysis Certification Chat, IIBA Bluegrass chapter. Okay, so just as Dolores was saying, let me go to the next, setting expectations. So how you may perceive my Agile experience. You know, I'm a presenter. I've been advertised on LinkedIn and all these things. So probably closer to the truth. You know, my experience is like 2 years plus, I guess, but it's been 10 years. And then I do have this shiny new certification. So probably close to the truth is that. So I have this door that's brand new, and but overall I can do it. But anyway, I'm a little rusty. That's the point as far as you get into it. But I can talk certification because that's relatively recent. So preparation for the exam. IIBA site has all kinds of good information. If you haven't been out there, just on the main page, certification, you can get to all kinds of good things. Decide, you know, if the fit, it's a good fit for you, the timing is right. I just picked one example. Let's see what this one says. It's 4 steps to business analysis certification. And this is just one example of many. There are all kinds of things out here. I'm not going to take the time to go through it, but I encourage you to look at that. Exam question breakout. This is one of the things you'll need to keep in mind as you go through is studying. 30% agile mindset, 10% strategy horizon, 25% initiative horizon, and 35% delivery horizon. And the last one's where the work's actually done in this if you're in Scrum or however your organization may work. So this is the overall breakout of the 3 different levels they have for the agile analysis information. So I just throw that out there early. And also it's important to understand the exam-related fees. Unlike the CBAP, there's no application fee for the AAC. That's a good thing. Just the exam fee. So for member, it's $250, non-member $400. So if you're not a member of IIBA, you actually save money by becoming a member and then taking the exam. If you're going to take the exam, it's like, at least in North America where I live, it's $130 some. So that's, you know, added together, you still save money. One motivating factor for me is this exam rewrite fee, about almost $200 per member. Whereas my company, my organization will pay for the exam fee. It's on me if I have to take it a second time. So we'll go into, everyone's going to have their own approach. My approach is sort of overkill and make sure I don't have to do the exam rewrite. And that is actually how it played out this time. Recertification fee. It's good to know, I think up front, what you're getting into. So there is an annual 1-year duration fee of $30 to keep this thing active. And I guess that's not unusual. And towards the end of the slide deck, we'll talk about some continuing education or continuing development units to keep just learning. I highly recommend the course from IIBA Bluegrass to get started. It's for me, it's just a kickstart, from, I've got the manual, I've got it all here, but I've never read it, right? So you could even, it's a way to get structured way to get through the content with all kinds of good exercises and things. That's just, it works for me. So, and then as Dolores mentioned, you get a discount for attending this chat. Target audience, this is from Aaron's information, just the course, if anybody already working in Agile to get better, if you want to learn the content or get certified, or you're a leader, or it doesn't have to be IT, it could be anywhere in an organization where Agile may apply, like in marketing or somewhere like that. In my study plan, let's just get into it. So again, my goal was to pass the first time. My approach was content saturation. And I also like to get a variety of viewpoints. And as good as the Bluegrass course is, I want to hear other people's take, and I want to get other sample questions and so forth. So my approach is to sort of be eclectic, if you will, and just get a different viewpoint and develop a study plan. Here's a thumbnail of what we'll look at in a minute on my spreadsheet, and constantly tweak it. And as you go, it's not set in stone. It's just, it's very agile, right? So it's it moves and breathes as things change. Let me just go to the study plan here. So this is a template. Can y'all see that okay? Is that large enough? So I'm going to go to the top and just give you a feel for what I used, at least, in case it helps you. That's the whole point here. So when I started my study plan, I'd already taken the course, but then, and I retrofitted this part in here. I don't know if I can share this template or not, but you could break out the homework in the class for each session. It's got 5 sessions, and then you take an exam. So let's say I finished my homework for week 1. I've done the reading. I've done whatever exercises there are. Well, actually, let's see. So here I have however many. Now it's done. So no time remaining. I'm going down here. And then I take the practice exam, and let's say whatever score I get, I can record that here. And then as I take other practice exams, I can track how I'm doing among all the different places where I'm doing them. So one thing which I found interesting and helpful to me is I'm kind of a busy guy, and I'm a jogger, I exercise. So I don't sit around and read a lot just in a chair. So what I have done is make a recording of the Agile extension. And let's see, I've got Word open here somewhere. Okay. So basically, if you take a PDF and download it, and then you open Word and import into Word, you'll get the text, you'll get all kinds of garbage and headers and footers and copyrights and all of that. But I went through and got rid of all the clutter, most of the diagrams, because those don't translate well to text. Well, here's one, but anyway, got rid of some of that stuff. And then in Word, while I have my phone on, see, just my phone, I started recording, and I hit, highlight what I'm going to highlight, and I hit read aloud, review, read aloud. And it's reading the content to me. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but so I'll stop that. So then I've got my recording. Review, read aloud. Extension to the Vadi guide. It's reading this. So anyway, that's just a slight demo of something you may want to consider if you're out and about, or you're shopping, or you're traveling in a car and you can't read while you're traveling, anything like that. You get an audiobook of the Agile extension that way for free. I mean, I don't think they would mind, as long as you don't try to sell it or anything. It's for your personal use, it should be fine. So I build in, listen to the extension any number of times and read it, sometimes as well. I'll listen to it more than I'll read it, actually, in my lifestyle. So here's Udemy. It doesn't have to be Udemy. It could be all these. There's all kinds of exam providers out there. There's BA Knowledge Academy. There's any number of them listed on the IIBA website. But let's look at Udemy, just to give you a feel for what it looks like. Where's Udemy? There we go. So this is the Udemy course that I took, and it's mixed reviews. It wasn't an A+, but it was good. And again, the point is to get the content from different perspective, fill in some holes, get different questions and all that. In this case, I thought the guy's Indian, which is fine. He had a little bit of an accent, which is, I got used to it. That's, everyone's got their preference on accents and things like that. So I would say this course was good, and it had a section which was sort of irrelevant, section 3, preparing for the real world, how to interview, things like that, which doesn't apply to the exam. But then at the end, you get a practice exam. So I did that. And let's see. So whoops. So there's my exam. So I logged, they say 75% required to pass. I don't know if that's true, but I did clear it. And that was the point. I think I took this relatively towards the end of my study. So it wasn't I wasn't a newbie when I got to their exam. But I did go through their course and log the time, what I thought it would take and what's left and so forth. And again, review the audio, review the Bluegrass slides and videos. And here are some of the Bluegrass slides. You can't see it, but you get all kinds of spreadsheets in class, which are highly valuable in that class. The slides are really good. I watched the video again. You can watch your course again if you want to, or just listen to the audio while you're doing things. So in the homework, you can look at those again. So that's basically it on my the first part of the study plan. The other thing I thought I would show you is Watermark, which they have a tool, which is an exam simulator. And let's see, I've got it here somewhere. Here it is. Here's the login page for their online study exam. So they do any number of things. And the one here is the AAC. Once you pay, you get an email address, password, and you log in. I'm not going to take time to do that, but here's their page. So you can do warm-ups, 15 or 30 questions. You can do drills. You can do Agile mindset. You can do strategy. You can do initiative horizon, delivery horizon, or techniques, or any combination of those. You can do one or more than one thing. And you get drill feedback at the end of every question, at the end of the whole event. Or you do exam simulation. This is, I think, the biggest key here is you get the 2-hour exam, you get 85 questions, and you can practice your location, timing yourself, pacing yourself, getting the content, not getting up for breaks and things. And so you can go through it there with this tool. My exam, in the exam history, it tracks when you do it. So first thing I did was a warm-up, and that was on December 19th. I had scheduled my exam for December 28th. And so it's like 9 days. It wasn't that far ahead, but it was Christmas break, so I had time to work on it. So I took, they give you a grade, 70%, 76, 60%, whatever you get, over a while, you get better. Now that says two things. One is you're remembering some of the questions and what the answers are. That's not good. But you're getting better because you're processing better and weeding out the incorrect answers better. So here, in this case, I did a 15-question warm-up. I did simulation and all this, and they track how you did by the different areas, knowledge areas: Agile mindset, strategy horizon, initiative horizon, delivery horizon, and techniques. So they track your scores and the type of thing in a grid. And so when you get it all done, if you can get above 75, I think that's, I'm not sure if that's the real threshold or if it's 70%, but if you're at 75, and you feel comfortable with the content, then you might be ready to go. So did want to show you a live view of Watermark. I'm not going to show you any exam questions. That wouldn't be fair to them. but it's a good tool, and I would recommend it. So let me go back to our slide deck. So there's my study plan. That's how I went about it. We looked at Udemy. We looked at Watermark and scheduling the exam. Let's see how my time is doing. Okay, I'll keep talking, go kind of a little bit fast. So once they receive payment, you have 12 months to schedule. And if you want to, sometimes there are discounts. You may want to try to do a guessing game and see if you can sign up when there's a discount. It worked for me. I did it in December, and they did have a 20% off sale. So I got a $50 rebate at the end. So that was nice. Depending, the scheduling depends on how busy PSI is and what slots are available. I found a lot of slots, but they had this December special that ended the 30th of December. You had to take your exam by then. So when I was ready to schedule mid-December, the best I could get closest to the end was 12/28 at about 10:30 in the morning, which was good. I would have picked maybe a little earlier, but I still finished by lunch, which was my goal. I'm fresher in the day. Attestations, you have to agree to a code of ethical conduct and professional standards. There's terms and conditions. They have a handbook and a guide to proctored exams. PSI has its own set of things. So there's lots of metadata to read and be aware of. And you can build that into your study plan, just to make sure you cover all the content. All right, setting up to take your environment to take the exam. So I'm sitting at the desk. I took the exam, and it's a sparsely decorated room. I won't, show you all around like you have to show the proctor, but it's, you have to make it available with no study helps or anything, electronics or things like that in your reach. So the recommendation is to use a home PC rather than a work PC, which is what I'm on here. And the reason is, your IT department may have Team Viewer or other things that can remote to see your desktop. I guess they don't want anyone either helping you, A, or B, looking at your exam questions, so that they block all that. And so home PC is recommended, or you can uninstall a bunch of stuff in work PC and turn off services and all this thing that may be more destructive than helpful, but you can work that out. In my case, I had an old work PC, so I just stripped a bunch of stuff off, and that's what I used. So I'd moved to a newer box not too long ago. System compatibility check, do it early. When I took the CBAP, I thought I did. I've taken so many different system compatibility checks. I didn't think it would be an issue, but it was, because I had some stuff running in the background and I was using my work machine. So take your, eventually got it squared away, but it took time that I wasn't counting. Government issued photo ID needs to be readable. Hold it up to your camera. In Virginia, our driver's license it's like dark blue. It's sort of like a blue and a purple and not a whole lot of contrast. So make sure you get plenty of light. I should probably put on another light here so they can see clearly what you're doing. Need to clear your desk. And this is one I ran into this time, where there were wires on my desk. I have a docking station, and all kinds of things are rechargeable these days. So I had all kinds of wires. And they wanted me to clear the desk of wires. So I did that. And got the proctor happy. The problem was when I was moving the wires off the desk, the power AC adapter went off. So I was on battery and I didn't realize it. So that's sort of a horror case. So just be careful. So I won't go into that right at this point. No phone. They will watch you the whole time. So you're not supposed to touch your mouth or talk to yourself. Clear water bottle. I would not recommend taking a break in a 2-hour exam. Just sit through it and plow through. But I think you're allowed one break, but then you'll lose that time while taking the exam. When you take it, you need to log into your IIBA account. Be ready to launch from there. Arrive on time. If you're 15 minutes late, they will forfeit, or they say they can forfeit you. So you don't want to be late. you go through the exam proctor check-in process. They do the room scan, all angles of the room. And at the desk I'm on in, I cleared all the drawers out, took them in the hall so that, they would, I'm not going to be reading anything that could be around me. Acknowledge the rules. You already, with the watermark, you sort of know how to navigate through an exam. And it's similar in the exam itself. And there's a button to end the exam. Okay. My experience taking the exams, the strategies, don't let them rattle you right off the bat. And I think that's part of the experience is it's a stress test. That's just my take. But the first 10% or so of the questions, maybe it's 20%, I don't know the number, but they're not going to ask you easy ones to let you ramp up. They're going to ask you hard ones just to get your heart rate going. It's like, am I in the right exam? So you different strategies. You can skip the first 10 questions. You can go through your, just as if they're just expecting to be hard. You can do anything you want. But just be aware that don't get rattled. This is a long exam. There's 85 questions. If you'll get through it. There's a question, you'll get this in the course, when to leave questions blank or flag them. If you have no idea, just leave it blank, flag it, and come back to the second task. If you're not sure, you narrowed it down to 2, you may just want to answer your best and then flag it and come back and see what you think. After reading all the questions, you may actually learn something the way they asked the question. But to get in groove is a good thing. It's, for the 2 hours, don't get stuck with 85 questions. You'll probably miss a few. And again, skip the stretch break if you can. Expect surprises. I got a couple of questions that seem more like CBAP than AAC. But they can be right around the edge of what's the content is. I guess the point is there. And again, make sure your PC is charged and going the whole time. Don't do what I did. In the CBAP exam, I scheduled it. This is a bonus exam taking slide. I wanted to cram in there's so much data, so much stuff to learn for that. I tried to cram a bunch of stuff and then I was running a little bit late. Make sure your PC is tested, you have good lighting, scratch paper. The proctor said, show me your piece of paper. This is before the exam. So I showed him and said, now tear it up into force. And they should have asked me that to do at the end. So I said, fine, I don't need scratch paper anymore. I just threw it away and we kept going. But they also started the timer while we were still doing some of this. So I got to the first question. I was already at 5 minutes in. So I objected and he gave me time at the end. So I got the full time. So just be aware of when the timer starts. On all these certification exams, when you get through it, it's just a real good feeling. It's a blessing. You study so hard to get to that point that it's such a relief when you do pass it. Consider maintaining it. I'm not going to go through the recertification exam for now. We got, but there's 20 credits per year. You get some in learning stream, some in the application stream by volunteering. So I've used up almost all the time. Let me just throw it open for questions and let's see what's in the chat. Okay, do you want to moderate, Dolores or Aaron, or any questions in particular?
Sure. There have been no questions in the chat session.
Okay.
But, the attendees, feel free to unmute yourself. You have that ability at this time. You can go ahead and unmute and ask any questions in general, or anything specific that, Peter has shown us so far. If you'd like to, or even just make a comment about an experience that you've had related to this that may, that Peter may shed a little more light into that might, benefit everyone. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi, Dolores. Yeah,
Hi,
just a question. With regard to the AAC, as a business analyst, taking the exam, did you have to write any documentation or submit any like long use cases or answers?
Question. There are no use cases like on the CBAP, like where you might have this long narrative and you have to pick out certain things of what's going on, and then you have several questions on the same scenario. None of that. It's all on one page. So it may be like a paragraph and then you pick 4 things. So, but it's not like the big one on the CBAP. So What was the other part of that?
The second part was if
Prerequisites?
yeah, like for example, the initiative horizon or in the initiative horizon or the delivery horizon, were there specific places where they ask, okay, what is the business analyst responsible for? But as a BA, what are you responsible in this horizon, in this horizon, like that?
Yeah, yeah, you need to know what you do and what others do. So yeah, that's an important part. And as you go through the training, they give you examples of what you do at each horizon. If you're working in the strategy, initiative, or delivery, what your functions are, your roles, and the techniques vary somewhat. Some are the same, but there are different techniques at different horizons. So yeah, you need to know which one you'd use where, not to totally, but you need to have a pretty good idea of what you would be doing at each horizon.
Hey,
Thank
I
thank you
I
so
will
much.
say, first of all the questions are multiple choice. They're pretty short sentences. Like Peter said, there's no case studies, no scenarios, like in the CBAP or the CCBA. Each question has four answer options. It's never three or never five. Um, you just select among the four answer options that are there. So it's pretty easy that way. I felt the test was really just knowledge, memory recall was straight from the book. And that's the Agile extension to the BABAC. None of it that like the CCBA and CBAP get into the higher cognitive level of thinking type questions, and like applying that knowledge to your everyday work or theory. It never gets into that. CBAP doesn't even get into theory or anything, but
Mhm, mhm.
um, yeah, they're all multiple choice, four answer options each, and that they will not ask what is your responsibility as a BA in the strategy horizon or anything like that. They'll have a question, and you will be able to recognize, oh, this is the initiative horizon or something, um, and that they'll ask it in that way. They won't ask specifically what are your responsibilities, in this horizon.
Mhm.
I don't remember that type of question on the exam.
No specifics, specifics into like in a horizon, like in as a BA, why would for example, why would you choose to hire a BA in a project where it's a short agile or extreme programming? Extreme programming is just two developers. It's a lot of developers releasing code quickly in DevOps. So why hire BA? So something like that, is that something that's expressed there as well?
Peter, I don't know.
I would say no. It's content of the Agile extension. So we're not going to get into why
Mhm,
BA do this or that.
mhm,
So
It doesn't get into those frameworks under Agile and that. It doesn't ask specifically extreme
yeah,
programming or Scrum or safe questions or anything of that nature.
it's good to know what the other choices are, the different frameworks. Just to know, that they're there, so you can identify them if you need to, just that is a framework. So
got
There
it, got
was
it.
one thing, the Agile extension in the Agile mindset um, area of the Agile extension, it
Mhm,
gets into mindsets versus methodologies versus frameworks
mhm,
and understanding the definition of those three things.
mhm.
It was on the exam.
Mhm. And the mindset that like what about the agile mindset is important, or having a reiterative process is important? Like for example, they'll say, what did you do from this cycle the next cycle? What did you do from this cycle the next cycle? Well, how did you improve? So reiteratively, how do you say cycle to cycle? We did a retrospective. We changed these things that we wanted to innovate on, and which basically made the cycle made essentially clients find more utility in what we were delivering, or what the business analyst was doing. So then, were there any retrospective or iterative questions that are relative to the agile agenda or the manifesto?
Yeah, the retrospective is a technique, and that's definitely, part of the process. They will go through how not exactly what you do specifically from time to time, but how the overall process works.
Mhm.
Right, Aaron, if you want to elaborate on that, but you do need to know your techniques and how it could work in your environment.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and like we said, it's purely knowledge from the book. So it doesn't get into type of questions you were asking, Tahaj, was more about applying that knowledge and how you did it in work. Now, the Agile extension gets into feedback and learning from that feedback. Learn and adapt is a component or a concept of every Agile framework. And the Agile extension gets into that. And there's a diagram in there, as well as plenty of text to explain the feedback that happens within each loop, and then it goes up and down between the horizons. So that type of question, what is the feedback, the delivery horizon can give back to the initiative horizon. But it won't ask you, how did you do it, or something of that nature.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So then definitely memorize that manual, the AAC manual, right?
It's not all memorizing, but understand. I mean, really study it to understand the content and how, it should be done. Type thing. If you got an eidetic memory, maybe memorize it, but I know it's a lot fewer pages than the Babak, which is 500 pages, but memorizing something, I think it takes more than that. You got to memorize or really understand the content and the value that you're
I,
creating.
I think this is a good place to plug in the fact that attending the Bluegrass class, the study group, would give you a good understanding of the
Yeah,
material and the exam itself and the concept of how that exam is going to play out for you. So I
absolutely.
think this is a good idea. Keep that in mind. I'm not sure if you've, already obtained it or planning to obtain it. And if you are planning to obtain it, by all means, please consider joining the group, the study group, because you do get the content, but you also get the kind of conversation that Aaron and Peter are sharing here now. They'll share that as part of the class about what is the main goal of this, of this event, what is happening. So I think, just keep that in mind. This is a good tool. And with that, as Peter said, there are other tools along with that. And Watermark is an absolutely great resource for helping you take what you've learned in the study group and continue to apply it until you, like you said, you have that knowledge. It's not just memorization, but you have the concept, you have the core function in your thought process on how this needs to play out. And then you can, be more successful in your exam.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome. Does anyone else have any other questions that Peter or Aaron can help field for you?
Or Dolores.
Or myself, yes.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
If not, I just want to remind you guys that there is in the chat the discount code. So that is just another great initiative to come forward and, register for our class. It is definitely going to be to your benefit, and there's a little financial, break for it. So I encourage you to please sign up.
Yeah, the handouts, I would reiterate, the handouts are excellent in that, good study guide. So I don't know if it's worth the total cost of the class, but it's very valuable.
Hey, I will.
It's always a good resource. It's always a good resource after the fact.
You don't have to do it
I will
yourself.
say, and Peter, can either deny or confirm, Our class is set up to truly prepare the student to pass the exam.
Yeah.
We study the guide. Now, in other chapters, even some chapters have free study guides or study groups and that. And often I find them to be more roundtable discussions and that kind of thing. They don't have homework. They don't have a separate study guide. We purchase a study guide that is out there on the market, and we get it at a cheaper price than it's out on Amazon. We can get it cheaper than what you can. So because we've been purchasing it for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
so we get a discount from the publisher. But we truly prepare you to take that exam, and we've had several students, pass it. Peter, I think you're still the newest Agile
Okay. All right.
certification recipient.
Yeah,
In
he's our
December.
newbie.
So if you got
Yes.
it in December, I think we had 2 that got it in December. And that, so yeah, so Peter's gone through the study group, and he got it December, I guess. Actually took the test and passed it and got his certification.
And that's just one other thing I want to say about our study groups in general, not just the Agile analysis. As Aaron said, they truly help you prepare. And we seem to find that a lot of our students tend to pass first time because they've attended our classes, more so than, students who try to do it on their own and take the exams themselves. I mean, they are successful. There are, cases on both cases where, students have done it on their own and passed first time. And we've had students, who've taken our courses and needed to take the test a second time. Obviously, it's not a 100% guarantee, but it is definitely a help. And the conversations and the resources that are available, not just the material resource, but the individuals who share their knowledge and their experience in the course, to me, added value when I was taking a different certification. So, that's why I always say a study group is really worth its weight, because you get more than just the printed material or the electronic material. You get access to experienced people, to all sorts of collaborative, discussions. So I just want to point that out for you guys, because it's an asset to me.
And a structured study environment, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You're forced to carve time out, dedicated time with everybody's busy life to say, this is the path I'm choosing, and executing that accordingly. Peter, did you want to add something to that?
I do, yeah. So the slide decks they use are excellent. The way they're formatted is different than the book. And now the manual that comes with it is very similar to the Agile extension, but it does have quizzes and some other memory things in there. But even just looking at slides, not just the handout, the slides are also very good resources to go back and study later. And the recordings are available for some amount of time after you take the course. So you can go back and listen to it.
Absolutely.
So that's all. Put it all together, it's a great value. Yeah, so.
It really is.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions? I know we're a little bit over time, but we want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions. This is for your benefit, to give you an idea of what the course is going to, take, and what the effort level is going to be. Okay, Aaron, I'll turn it over to you then.
All right. I will say that everyone who attended it today will get a follow-up email tomorrow with a link to this recording. We can also put the information about the upcoming study group so that you can join in there. We won't be sharing the discount code outside of that. That's just for you being here today. So hopefully you captured that. I will put it in the chat one last time, make sure that everybody got it. But thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your engagement and participation. Thank you very much, Peter, for being our Agile analysis mentor for our chat today. Thank you, Dolores, for facilitating. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and a great week, and join us for any Bluegrass IIBA event in the future.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.